Boxing Opinions 100. We're going to go over some boxing terms. You have the accidental headbutt when someone bumps head. Alphabet group is just explaining the different divisions, WBC, WBA, WBO, etc. Amateur boxing is when neither participant is paid. The apron is the part of the ring that's outside the ropes. To backpedal is to retreat away from the punches being thrown. Be first is when your coach tells you to punch first, to be first. And we have the bell, so we know that the bell is a signal to stop fighting, start fighting or stop fighting. Below the belt is when a punch is thrown. Below the belt, below your protective equipment. Bleeder is a fighter that bleeds all the time. Blow by blow is a delicate description of two fighters throwing shots, hitting each other with shots. To bob and weave, they use Joe Frazier for this instance, meaning to get out of the way of punches, bob and weave the punches. Bodywork is an offensive method, meaning a body attack. The bolo punch, Sugar Ray Leonard was known for the bolo punch. It's like a wind-up, swinging your arm around and then almost hitting the opponent with the opposite arm. A bout is used to describe a boxing match. A brawler, in this instance, I describe Sean Porter. Sean Porter is a good description as a brawler, as an aggressive fighter. A break is a command by the referee telling you to separate and break. The canvas is what you are boxing on, or you could say that he hit the canvas, his gloves touched the canvas, is what you're boxing on inside of the ring. The card is the lineup. So you could say whoever the boxers is on the card for tonight. A catch weight is a weight that boxers agree upon other than their normal weight. They agree to fight at this weight. To be caught cold is meaning like you didn't get a chance to warm up, you came out, you didn't break a sweat, you got hit, you got caught. So that's being caught cold. The challenger is a boxer who is scheduled to face the champion of the favorite fighter. A challenger is a boxer scheduled to face the champion. A champion is a fighter that holds the title. A check hook is thrown when a fighter is rushing in and you're hitting with a check hook coming in. A chief second is the second person in your corner. So you could have a main person and then you have a second person. So that's called a chief second. When you clinch someone when you're fighting in close, stop them from hitting you. You clinch them, you hold them and grab their arms or whatever, however way you clinch them to stop them from hitting you. A combination is a series of punches thrown in a succession with no break between them. A contender is a qualified opponent who has worked his way up the ranks in order to challenge for a world title. A corkscrew punch is a punch thrown from an overhand arching motion with a twist impact intended to cause a cut. A cornerman is somebody who works on the cuts of a fighter in the corner. You have your responsibilities as a cornerman. To counterpunch, Mike Tyson once called Evander Holyfield the best counterpuncher he has ever faced. So that means when you throw a punch, the fighter is timing you to throw over your punches. To cover up is defensive, means a defensive posture to protect yourself, means that you're covered up. A cross is a punch thrown across the body. So you throw a cross punch. A cruiserweight is just a division. The cut man is an individual who works on the swelling and abrasions and everything in your cut. Cutting off the ring, meaning that you don't let the fighter just dance around the ring. Some people like to use the ring, so if you know a fighter that likes to use the ring, so you want to cut the ring off against them. A decision is a verdict, as a verdict rendered by the judges. A disqualification occurs when a foul or a flagrant rule violation happens, and he is automatically lose the bite. The bout means you have been disqualified. A dive is when a fighter purposely goes down and is counted out to pretend he is knocked out. So you could watch Deontay Wilder facing Malik Scott. That would be a good example of this. Down and out means that a boxer is knocked down and fails to get up, and the referee reaches a mandatory count of 10, meaning he's down and out. A draw is a judgment rendered by the judges telling you that the bout is a draw. That means that there is no winner declared. To duck means that you're ducking under a punch, means you're dropping down, bending down under the punches. An 8 count is when you've been knocked down or glove touches, and the referee renders a standing 8 count. Inkswell is used as a tool used to help the cut man usually keep swelling down around the eyes. Faded means is a term in boxing saying that the boxer is fading and he no longer is fighting at his best. To feint, you feint a punch, which means you're faking like you're going to throw a punch, but you faked it and you're not really throwing. You're trying to get some kind of, to see what the fighter would do. Fisticuffs is a term meaning that two people are fighting in hand-to-hand combat. A flash knockdown is like when Manny Pacquiao fought Keith Thurman. When he knocked Keith Thurman down, he didn't really hurt Keith Thurman. He just knocked him down. So you will call that a flash knockdown. A foul is a break, one breaking the boxing rules, and he has repeated it, so he keeps fouling. A fringe contender is a lesser-known, low-ranking fighter who is about to break into the rankings, but doesn't typically pose much of a threat. The gate is the amount of money from the ticket sales. A gatekeeper is a boxer that usually sometimes be a fighter that's been around, and he probably once was a champion, or he's a good prospect and he's still ranked high, and he's the gatekeeper. So if you can't get past the gatekeeper, you probably won't become champion. Get off is like your corner telling you to get off first. So you get your punches off before he get off. Don't let him get off first. The glass jaw is somebody that can't really take a punch, and you've seen them get knocked out before, and all you have to do is basically land a decent punch on them, and they usually have a glass jaw and can't take a punch and easily knocked out. To go the distance means to reach to the end of the bout, or how many rounds the bout is scheduled for, meaning that you went the distance and the bell rung, so we made it to the end of the fight. Whether it's a 4-round fight, 8-round, 10-round, 12-round. To go to the body is somebody hitting someone in their midsection. And to go to the cards means that neither fighter was knocked out or stopped, so we're going to go to the cards. But some bouts go to the cards when it's a headbutt. Like if there's a headbutt within, I think it's 4 or 6 rounds. If the fight is stopped on a cut, then we go to the cards and render a decision. The governing body is an organization who dictates the rules of each bout, and then sanctioning approves the fights. The rules of each bout, each governing body has different rules, so they have to get together to approve which rules will be in this fight that's ongoing. A growing protector is the almost like a big cup that you see the boxers wear for their protection. And hand wrap, hand wrap your hands with gauze and cotton bandages. A haymaker. This reminds me of David Hay. So he used to throw haymakers and knock people out. A haymaker is thrown it's a hard punch thrown over the top. Depending on which stance you're coming in, if you're a southpaw, you're throwing a left-hand haymaker. If you're a right-hander, you're throwing a right-hand haymaker. A headbutt is when two fighters collide heads, and it usually happens on an accident sometime. Head hunting is somebody that throws no body punches. They just are always trying to hit a person in the head. Muhammad Ali never threw body punches. A lot of people don't know that about Muhammad Ali. Go back and watch Muhammad Ali fights. He never threw no body punches. So Muhammad Ali is the best description of a headhunter. A heavyweight is another division over 200 pounds. A hook is like kind of like a 3/4 punch. It's not a wide punch. It's not a straight punch. It's kind of like a 3/4 punch. If you could picture 3/4. Infighting is fighting up close, which some people, if you hear commentators sometimes say that it seems like they're fighting in a phone booth. So you could call that infighting. A jab is to create distance from a fighter, and a jab usually controls the fight of your offense. A journeyman is a term meaning that the fighter is always in the game, but not typically in title condition. He's used for up-and-coming fighters. There's another term in here that you'll see, like a stepping stone. A kidney punch is a legal blow thrown to the opponent in his lower back on the side, hitting you in the kidney. You can be kidney shot. Looks very painful. Several people have been dropped from kidney shots. A knockdown is when the opponent is stuck on the ring floor and his knee touches the canvas, or after being hit, he's been knocked down. Knockout or KO means a knockout means that the fighter has been counted out by the referee, and a KO means that he's been KO'd and the referee counts him out. A lead right is when you lead off with your right hand. You could be in a Orthodox position that's in the right hand, and you, instead of leading with your jab, you lead with your right hand. And these are just a bunch of weight classes. You got light flyweight, light heavyweight, light middleweight, light welterweight. The lineal champion. That's Tyson Fury says he's the lineal champion. This is a fighter who's won the title and has been passed down through a direct line of champions. So he's the man who beat the man. A low blow is a illegal shot that the referee warns you, keep your hands up. That's an illegal shot. The main event is whoever the main event, like say Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and they are the main event for the night. That means that that's the last fight. A mauler is somebody that roughhouse tactics. I would describe that just in a description. It's like Sean Porter. Sean Porter's going to maul you, rough you up, all that kind of stuff. Majority decision is when 2 of the 3 judges score it for one fighter while the third judge scores it a draw. Majority draw. When 2 of the 3 judges score the fight as a draw while the third judge scores it for one fighter. That's a majority draw. A middleweight is just another weight division. Minimum weight is another weight division. A mouse is a swelling starting to occur, maybe under your eye or somewhere on your face. A mouth guard is your mouthpiece to protect you from your teeth get knocked out, so that's your mouth guard. Your neutral corner means that if a referee says go to the neutral corner, that doesn't mean your corner. That's the opposite corner of at the time the referee tell you to go to the neutral corner. So whatever corner you're in, whenever the referee stops it, so you go to the opposite end of where you're at. A no decision is a fight that's prematurely ended due to an intentional headbutt or a cut. Can be ruled a no contest or a no decision. On the ropes is when a boxer has his back up against the ropes. You'll hear some fighters say, don't go on, don't beat him, don't put your back up against the ropes. An orthodox fighter just really means that you're in the right-handed stance. You're leading with your left hand as a jab. When you outpoint somebody, you're outpointing them, you're outscoring them, you landed more punches in each round, so you outpointed them. An outside fighter is a fighter that he's more comfortable with fighting from the outside than inside. He's better on the outside, but to use his range. An overhand is like a punch that's delivered in an arching motion. So if you throw an overhand right, you can throw an overhand left. The Palooza is an old boxing term who is a fighter that's uneducated, who is lacking ability, and generally clumsy. A parry, this is when you not only block the incoming punch, but actually redirect it away from your body and intended target. To paw with your punches is like you're kind of like you're not trying to hit the person with full strength. You're pawing at them. You'll see somebody, it's like changing the speed of your punches. So you don't throw every punch at the same speed every time. The peekaboo is like the peekaboo defense, holding your hands up in a defensive posture, looking through both of your arms like a window. So you can still see the fighter in front of you, but you're peeking through. Picking off punches is a term used when punches block and redirected before they land. When you're playing possum, you're playing like you're hurt, but you're not really hurt. You're trying to draw the other fighter in to make him think that you're hurt, to make him rush in. To plunder is a heavy-footed, slow-footed fighter, and it's just somebody that wants you to stand there. He don't want to dance around. He don't want to move around. He just wants you to stand there so you can punch him. So that's a plunder. A point deduction is a point taken away from a fighter in case, say for a headbutt, and you've been warned before. So if you get you make the same foul, you get a point taken away. It's called a point deduction. A pound for pound is a term to describe a fighter's weight category. Like he's the pound for pound, so almost saying he's the best in his division or the best fighter in the world or something. Like Canelo Alvarez is the best description of that pound for pound fighter. A prize fighter is basically somebody that gets paid money as an award for a fight. So all fighters that we see on TV are basically prize fighters. A promoter is someone who promotes the fight and arranges everything in the venue, he finds the venue and all that. A pug list is an outdated word to organize a Latin word, pugil. It means a fighter, fist fighter, or boxer. Pull means a defensive, means you lean away and pull back away from the punches. A pull counter means you pull back and the opponent throws a punch, but you counter over his punches. So you pull back, but you countered him as he was punching you. Pull your punches means that you were going to punch, but you felt like at that moment, if you threw that punch, that you might be countered, and you're not throwing your punches pull punch at full power. A puncher's chance That's Deontay Wilder. Has the best puncher's chance in boxing. Deontay Wilder was in the second fight with Luis Ortiz, was losing on all scorecards. All scorecards, but with his puncher's chance, he knocked Luis Ortiz out, Luis King Kong out in the 7th round. So that's a puncher's chance. But that means that the fighter is still in there and he's strong and he still has a puncher's chance. Punch mitts are the mitts that you see on the videos when people are training, hitting the mitts. The purse is the amount of money that the boxers earn during the fight. A rabbit punch is a punch that's delivered to another fighter behind the head, and it's an illegal blow. That's a very dangerous punch. I think more referees need to stop. I see a lot of hitting behind the head in several fights, and the referees aren't doing anything about it. Ring generalship is somebody that knows his way around the ring during the heat of battle. He knows where they're at all time, knows how to maneuver himself around the ring. Lomachenko and Floyd Mayweather, Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence, Manny Pacquiao, you could all say that they have ring generalship. The ring round card girls, we know that those are the girls who carry the scorecard showing you which round it is. Ringside is telling you that your position in the front row of the ring of your seat, saying, well, I have a ringside seat, so that means that you're right there on the action. Road work is a boxer that out jogging, doing his road work, getting his preparation in for an upcoming bout. To roll with the punches means to take some steam off of the punch. So you don't just sit there and let somebody hit you flush. You roll with the punch, and it takes some steam off of the punch so you won't get hurt. Roughhousing, again, I go back to Sean Porter because he's a very rough fighter, and he will rough you up. You know, you finna fight Sean Porter, you finna get roughed up. So that's roughhousing. A rubber match is two boxers that have faced each other twice already, and each of them have won each of the fights. So the third fight is called a rubber match. A sanctioning body is an organization that relates to approve fights. So they go over the rules and the guidelines of each bout of what rules will go along with this fight, depending on where the fight is held. Everybody has different rules. Saved by the bell, so saying that you were winning the fight and you got hit in the 12th round at the bell, but knocked out. But you were able to stand, and since the bell rung, there is no standing 8 count, so that's called being saved by the bell. The second is one of the fighter's cornermen. You have your main cornerman, then you have somebody else maybe giving you directions or instructions. That's still second. The second out is a verbal command with the referee in between rounds, meaning that the corner is to return ringside at the start of the next round. That means to go to your corner and you got a minute coming. Shadow boxing is basically working out by yourself, working out, punching, looking at yourself on the side of the wall, your shadow boxing. Shifting is basically, it sounds like switch hitting, because it's like it says basically changing from orthodox to the southpaw position to deliver a punch. But that doesn't really mean switch hitting. You could just be turning your body over to deliver more punches. A shoe shine. Sugar Ray Leonard is a good example of this, of a shoe shine. This is a puncher that throws a lot of punches in a quick succession at one time. They might run off 10, 12 punches at once. Shot worn is a fighter that has taken a lot of punishment over the wear and tear of his body over the course of his career, and that he could get back in the ring, and it could seem that he's in good shape, but he has suffered so much punishment that it's not really hard to get a boxer out of there that has been shot born. Shoulder roll. Oh, we know what this is. This is Floyd Money Mayweather. He perfected this better than anybody. The shoulder roll. A lot of people has tried to imitate it, but unable to do it. To slip is to duck when you move your head and avoid getting hit. A southpaw is just standing in the left hand stance, and your left hand is your dominant punch. To spar means getting ready to spar with another fighter, and you may have pads or gloves on so you won't get so hurt like an actual fight. You might wear headgear and a lot of protective gear. And your sparring partner is the person that you are facing at that time. A spit bucket is the bucket that you see the fighter spitting into. May spit water in it, sometimes they spit blood in it. So that's a spit bucket. A split decision is a split decision between two fighters when two of the three judges score the bout for a fighter and one judge scores it for the other. That's a split decision. A split decision draw is when a judge scores the bout for one fighter and the next judge scores the fight for another, and the third judge scores a draw. That's a split decision draw. Your stablemate is somebody, just say you're Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevens. So they are stablemates. They're under the same label. A stepping stone is somebody that is basically through in the ring to make the other fighter look good, and he's not really a threat, so they call him a stepping stone, even though it doesn't turn out that way sometimes. To stick and move means to stick and move and not get hit. Going back to Shakur Stevens again, he's a good example of that. And a stylist is a fighter that technique has more than power. More than power is considered a stylist. So I would consider Caleb Plant a stylist. When you sucker punch, that means you've been hit at the sound of a bell. So the punch could be delivered on the way and the bell rings simultaneously. So that means you've been sucker punched. A super middleweight is just another division. A technical decision is when a fight is stopped early due to a cut, disqualification, or any situation when the bout is stopped and the scorecards are tailed. So we go to the cards. A technical draw is when a bout is stopped early and the scores are even. So a technical knockout, is a TKO ending the fight determined by the referee. So that means the referee has stopped the fight before the contest could go all the way to the final bell. And to throw in the towel is like Bart Breeden threw in the towel for Deontay Wilder. You know, sometimes you have to throw the towel in to save the fighters from themselves, because a lot of fighters, you know, they won't quit. They always say, let me go out on my shield. So, but fighters can get hurt like that. Toe-to-toe, you'll hear that boxers just sitting in front of each other, just punching. It's not too much movement. You will hear people, announcers say, it seems like they could have fought this fight in a phone booth. So that's toe-to-toe. A trial horse is a fighter that is a test of an up-and-coming to gauge the fighter. So if you can't get past the trial horse, you maybe won't make it to be a champion. Typing up is a type of defense that clinches and locks the opponent's arms. So when you're up close to an opponent and you have to grab his arm to stop him from hitting you in the body or hitting you in any kind of way. A unanimous decision is when all the judges score the fight for one fighter. An undercard, these are the fights that's leading up to the main event. So if Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder was the main event, every fight before that is the undercard. The underdog is a competitor or athlete who is believed to have little or no chance of winning the fight. So Buster Douglas was an underdog against Mike Tyson, but it didn't turn out The underdog won that time. Uppercut is a punch through from an upward motion, usually to hit you in the chin or thrown upward toward the face. Or you can throw an uppercut to the body. Upstart is a beginning fighter that shows potential. I said Jerron Boots Ennis will be an upstart because he's an up-and-coming fighter with good potential. A walkout bout is a fighter that, not a fighter, a walkout bout is a fighter that was scheduled to fight but no longer fighting, and somebody has to step in for them. Weight class is just different weight classes and different division. Welterweight is just another weight division. A white collar boxing is somebody who is a professional in the world that maybe has a job but likes boxing as a sport but can't really have the not really have the full time to train as a boxer but likes boxing as a trainer. And this is Boxing Opinions 100, and let me know what you think about these boxing terms. Hit that subscribe button, and I'm out.